Just give me a moment.
Recording in progress.
All right, over to you.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Grimsby. I'd like to first introduce the committee members and staff with us this evening. So we have the committee members, Dan Collins. We just wave maybe or acknowledge Dan. Dylan Bailey. Hi, Dylan. Adam Mottershead. Hi, Adam. And then in person, we have Fabia Billing to my right, and myself, Kevin Antonitis. Staff members present this evening are Walter Basic, Assistant Director of Planning. Hey, Walter. And Dilhara Abiwardine, Administrative Coordinator to my left. Just a brief announcement regarding live streaming. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are live streamed by the Town of Grimsby. Individuals and media may be audibly and or visually recorded during this meeting. As a reminder, all electronic devices are to be in silent mode during our committee meeting. A brief outline of the procedures. The purpose of the application, any correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given the opportunity to address the application. Any persons concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision, advise of any applicable decisions or conditions. Copies of the decisions will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. The applicant, the Town of Grimsby, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and certain public bodies have the right to appeal either the decision itself or the conditions of consent to the OLT, Ontario Land Tribunal, within 20 days of the date giving of notice under subsection 17 is completed for consent, and within 20 days of the date of the decision for minor variance application. Specified persons and certain public bodies include public utilities, but do not include an individual or community association. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. Each participant will be provided 5 minutes to speak. Jim, that means you got to keep it to 5 minutes, just 5. Each participant will speak only once. If we hear your comment presented by someone else, please do not duplicate the remarks. When you are called, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. Agencies commenting on applications may request certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to those conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. All members of the committee have viewed the property on the agenda tonight and are familiar with the lands that are subject to the applications. So first we'll have the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Do any of the members of the committee have a pecuniary interest with respect to the application that's before us this evening? No? And I have none. Requests for withdrawal or adjournment? None. There's only one on the agenda. First is then the approval of the previous minutes that was held on July 18th. The committee's had a chance to review the minutes. Were there any questions or comments? No? If not, then do I have a mover and a seconder regarding the resolution for resolve that the minutes of the meeting held July 18th be approved? Moved by Adam, seconded by Dylan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any, was carried. Then the first and only application we have is a minor variance located at 103 Dorchester Drive. Dilhara, read that for us. And any correspondence?
I'll just go through it. So the purpose of the application is to facilitate the construction of a covered deck in the rear yard of a single detached dwelling, to permit a 4.11 meter rear yard encroachment for a covered deck into the required rear yard, whereas a maximum rear yard encroachment of 2.5 meters for a covered deck into the required rear yard is permitted. And this is an image of the plan that was circulated in the notice as well. This is an image of the neighborhood for context. And those are the current conditions of the site as seen on Google Maps. And these are some further details of what is proposed. The rear elevation from the north and the side elevation from the west. And we received comments from basically just the planning and the public works department. So the planning comment stated that the 4 tests were all met in accordance with the Planning Act. The variances meet the intent of the official plan as well as the zoning bylaw. The variance is desirable for the appropriate development of the land as proposed, and the variance is considered minor in nature. So the planning department concludes that the variance be approved. Public Works comments stated that they offer no conditions, but the following comment, which was that the existing lot grades shall not be changed or altered in any way and shall remain in accordance with the approved grading plan prepared by H. Switzer Corporation dated 21 March 1995. And yeah, that's it from me. Over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Jim, did you wish to outline the request or expand or elaborate at all on it? Or just be available for questions? Yeah, okay. Any questions from the committee members at all before we open it up to the public? And I don't believe we have any public delegations, so. Any questions at all? No? All right then, do we have a mover and a seconder with the reasons? Adam?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just give me a second. I have to switch to my other screen. Okay, the resolution would be resolved that minor variance application A21-23 by Sandra Davis for 103 Dorchester Drive to permit a 4.11 meter rear yard encroachment for a covered deck into the required rear yard, whereas a maximum rear yard encroachment of 2.50 meters for a covered deck into the required rear yard is permitted, be approved. No conditions.
Thank you. Seconder? Dylan? Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, then all those in favor say aye or raise their hand. Opposed, if any? Was carried. So again, there is a 20-day appeal period before it becomes final and binding. Thank you for coming out. That was it. Pretty straightforward, no delegation, so makes it easy. Thank you. Okay, and then the next item on the agenda was the just the acknowledgement, I guess, under other business, Ontario OLT decision regarding 29 Kemper Road East. I don't know, Walter, did you want to give a synopsis for it? I didn't have a chance to read the whole decision, I just read the conclusion, but I don't know if there's any highlights you wanted to bring to our attention. I know that was a long, controversial meeting, but maybe you can give us a synopsis if you'd like.
Again, just briefly, I was subpoenaed in favor of the application for the minor variance. The land tribunal sided with the appellant, and they approved the appeal, and subject to it was site plan approval and there being no processing of cannabis leaves and the growing of cannabis on the site. I think it was a 3-day long hearing. There was evidence presented on behalf of the town by John Arians. And there was also evidence presented by myself and the applicant's planner on behalf of the applicant. And there was also some expert evidence provided by an agronomist that specialized in cannabis and not cannabis in hemp production and growing. I think he's from Alberta, and that's really all I had. It was also well attended. There were 4 submissions by area residents at the OLT hearing, and That's it.
Okay, thank you. I was surprised how fast the hearing was held, because it was October. I was just reading, I couldn't remember the date, but it was October, and so they pulled a lot of information together in a short period of time, I guess. Now, was it under the new act? Were the,
It was a de novo hearing, so it was as if, you know, an application. It was like brand new
Right.
application.
right,
Everything, evidence had to be submitted from scratch.
right. So were residents allowed to present or attend, I guess?
Yeah, they attended. It was open to the public, and people were able to observe the proceedings, as well as they presented evidence on their own behalves by way of correspondence.
Okay, all right. Adam?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if anyone else had the chance to actually watch the hearings or not. I was in Vienna at the time, so it's actually primetime viewing in the evening for me. But yeah, my general impression.
You didn't have anything better to do in Vienna.
Sorry, what was that?
You didn't have anything better to do in Vienna?
Not in the evening. I was tired from walking all day. Yeah, so I'd watched it, and yeah, I just felt the member was perhaps in a little over his head in the decision itself. I read it, and yeah, it's I mean, it is what it is, but I've seen a lot better decisions come out of the OLT. I mean, I believe council can actually still appeal it if they want to go that far on errors of law. And having read the decision, yeah, there's some grounds there. So I don't know how the committee feels about sending a message to council if they want to on that or not.
Thank you for those comments. Anybody else? This was still the previous committee, I believe, right? Because the new committee wasn't convened yet. So, yeah. All right, so at this point, I guess we're just asked to resolve that we receive for information, unless somebody feels that, like to Adam's comment, sending a message to council that we're concerned about it or et cetera. But I guess council will also get a copy of the committee or of the decision, so they've also got that opportunity. I don't know, what's the appeal period for an OLT decision on a matter of law? Is there a window?
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I don't believe there's actually a time limit on appeal to divisional court on a question of law. But obviously, sooner the better, I would think.
Okay, anybody else?
Further to your comment, Mr. Chair, there will be a report and a cover report and a copy of the decision provided to council at the next meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, then do we have a mover and a seconder on the motion before us? Dylan? So moved. Is that the motion then resolved that OLT decision A472229 Kemp Road East be received for information? I'm assuming you're moving that one.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Seconder? Dan? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, if any? Was carried. Thank you. And I believe that's it for the matters this evening. So thanks again for agreeing to convene on short notice. I know we were supposed to have August off, but I think the applicant and the owner appreciated that, given the timelines coming into the fall. So thanks very much for agreeing, and it was a nice short meeting. So have a good evening. Thanks, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Recording stopped.